nigga like me, man, I love the game. I love the hustle, man. I be feeling like one of them ball-playing niggas, you know? Like Bird or Magic or something. Yeah, you know, a nigga got dough. A nigga could leave the league. But if I leave, the fans still gonna love me, man? I get love out here in Harlem, man. I done sold coke on these streets, man. Hash, weed, heroin. As long as niggas is feeling it, a nigga like me can hustle it. That's my gift in life, eh? You know? What? The fuck you laughing at, B?
You, man. Funny, man. You a hustling motherfucker, man. For real, baby. You fucking killing me, man.
Well, you know me, baby.
I wasn't gonna really get on this subject like that, but somebody got to do it. So, got my Luther Vandross playing, and you know, just got off work. About to go to the gym in a minute, but I figured before I go to the gym, I want to get into this Stephen A. and LeBron James beef, if you will. This is the thing with Stephen A. If you'll remember the last video I made where I said black people do not understand power. Stephen A. Smith, whether you like him or not, is tremendously talented. Like, I mean, he has a lot of talent, like enormously talented guy. He's very good at his job. Quite frankly, he could help take the show, ESPN First Take to, you know, heights it had never seen before. Right? So when he takes that show to the level that it's at right now, which is probably, well, it was until Skip Bayless left. You know, and I'll give Skip Bayless credit. Skip Bayless is one of the, you know, he's pretty talented. People don't like him. A lot of people don't like Skip Bayless and things like that. But at the end of the day, talent is talent. And they made a great team together. They did. And they built this show as, I don't know if it's still #1, but it was up there. Now, Skip Bayless has went to Fox Sports 1, and he's on a new network, him and Shannon Sharp. And they're basically, you know, going back and forth with each other. So when Skip Bayless left, they put Stephen A. in a position to challenge, you know, Fox Sports. You know, they're going head to head. I think the show, I forget the name of, Undisputed, comes on 30 minutes prior to ESPN First Take. They go at it with each other, and both shows are doing pretty well. Now, this is the thing that you have to take into account. The show ESPN First Take, you know, Stephen A. Smith will have different people on there. Now, if you're not familiar with the history, and I'm going somewhere, people, so bear with me. If you're not familiar with the history of Stephen A. Smith and his comments from time to time, I'm sure you are. Most people are. Stephen A. Smith has said some controversial things. I wouldn't even call them controversial, to be honest with you. I think some of it is just pretty much common sense. There was a video where a Florida State football player wound up punching a white girl. He was in a bar, you know, and you know, it's pretty much, you know, he was in a bar. The girl, white girl, punches him, and Stephen A. Smith says, "Well, I mean, you know, yeah, a man shouldn't hit a girl, but let's be honest, you know, women should not put their hands on men either." And after saying that, Michelle Beadle and other women said, you know, basically, hey, you know, Michelle Beadle basically was like, well, I don't think that's right. She went on Twitter and said it, which is against company policy. But Michelle Beadle is white, And like I said, this is their stuff. This is their shit. As I put in my other video, they, you know, she's white. They didn't really suspend her for going against company policy and taking personal issue on the internet, on social media, which probably should have been grounds for her getting either suspended or some sort of disciplinary action taken against her. They chose not to, though. In fact, Stephen A. Smith, when they were going back and forth on Twitter with Michelle Beadle, Stephen A. was like, look, I don't change my opinion, this, that. What I said was right. You shouldn't put your hands on people. I wasn't saying, didn't mean that you should just beat women. Well, Michelle Beadle went the next week, a couple of days later. I think that was on a Friday or Saturday. By Monday, Stephen A. Smith came back and he had to apologize. And I said, you know what? Stephen A. Smith is on the clock. I've been there before. I worked in white companies, and when you get a warning like that or something happens, they're watching you. Every move you make. Now, Stephen A. Smith, the show is, because it's in a precarious situation where they're competing with a show head-to-head with the same guy, which is Skip Bayless. Because they're competing, they need ratings. So, you know, if you're not familiar with him and LeBron James have been going back and forth in the media because LeBron James, Stephen A. Smith has people, he knows people within the, you know, scope of friendship with LeBron James, because LeBron James doesn't like Stephen A. Smith. That's another story. But they've been going back and forth. And so LeBron basically said he would whoop, he wanted to whoop Kyrie Irving's ass because Kyrie wants to be traded. You know, because Kyrie refuses to stay there and help him try to surpass Michael Jordan and be the greatest player ever. You know, he doesn't have the heart to do it himself. He's very, not that he doesn't need help, but, you know, Kyrie is the one that hit the shot. Kyrie is the one that when it gets in the clutch moments, Kyrie is the guy that he depends on. LeBron depends on. LeBron is a front runner. He scores most of his points when they're up 20, 30 points, you know, and then he'll get a dunk on a fast break. That's LeBron James. LeBron James is not going to come down and say, okay, I'm the man. I'm the one that wants to be compared to Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant and be one of a Mount Rushmore player, as he puts it. So if you're going to be that, then you need to wear the big draws when it's time. And LeBron refuses to do that. So he needs Kyrie, but Kyrie is tired of being labeled as just a sidekick when Kyrie, quite frankly, is way better offensively than LeBron James. He is. Kyrie is a better scorer than LeBron James is. People don't want to admit that, but that's the truth. So Stephen A. Smith is basically saying, hey, you know, LeBron said people in his camp are stating that he wants to get into he will get into a physical altercation with the guy if he saw him face to face, because Kyrie says he wants to be traded. Now I said all that to get this video to a certain point. And my point is this: Stephen A. Smith is very braggadocious, as if he built ESPN. Stephen A. Smith threatens people, but see, Stephen A. Smith is not in a position of power to be threatening anyone. And that is the whole gist of this video. It's not his power. It's not his company. He doesn't own it. Now, I don't knock Stephen A. Smith for working at ESPN. I don't. I have a job. So I'd be hypocritical to say that. But one thing you'll never do is hear me brag about the company like I could get someone fired. Or, you know, he told, Kevin Durant, you don't want to make me an enemy. And you got to understand, these people, say what you will, LeBron James teams are going to go to the finals because he's going to stack them so that he can go to the finals. His teams are going to be so stacked and the East is so weak that he's going to be in the finals. Everybody's left the East going to the West. So, of course, they're going right back to the finals again. It's not LeBron. It's that, hey, you know, they were, 46, or was it 23 and 23 from January to the end of to the beginning of the playoffs. They were a 500 winning percentage team. But it doesn't make a difference because Stephen A. Smith does not understand certain things. Stephen A. Smith seems to think that he's talking as though he's indispensable. Now, although you have talent, you cannot come into these white people's establishment and say and do anything and expect that, okay, I have talent and He's talking like, well, they can't get rid of me, and people are gonna watch, and our ratings are good. These white people, let me tell you something, they don't give a damn. So now the reason I'm saying is ESPN is basically, for lack of a better phrase, thrown Stephen A. Smith under the bus, saying that he's keeping up mess between Kyrie and LeBron by saying the things he said. And LeBron came out trying to lie and be all passive aggressive like he didn't mean it, and I didn't say that. Stephen A. Smith is just lying. And Stephen A. Smith got offended and came back and basically threatened the guy yesterday and said, look, I could put other information out there. And it's basically threatening LeBron. LeBron is a crybaby. LeBron probably went to the head office at the NBA. He went to Adam Silver. Adam Silver, the commissioner of the NBA, has come out saying that it's disturbing what's going on. And so what he's saying is, look, he got on the phone, called the commissioner, like, man, he do something about Stephen A. Smith. The commissioner probably called the head higher ups at ESPN, and Stephen A. Smith's head can roll. So he's treading on thin ice right now, even though he's right. And see, I expect LeBron to either give an apology soon. Something's going to happen. He's going to probably wind up giving an apology. You see what I'm saying? Because it doesn't, with a lot of these feminists and white women, it's not about right and wrong. It's about, just basically proving their point. And a lot of this stuff that he's dealing with this area of, I guess, a lot of the things he's dealing with in the off season about these free agencies and stuff like that is really indicative of his own demise. He has to be careful. He cannot put himself in a situation where it's either him or LeBron. And that's what it's getting down to. LeBron already does not come and speak to ESPN because they were hard on him in 2011 when he dropped 13 points a game from 28 to 15 points a game in the NBA Finals with a 6'2" Jason Terry checking it. And he hates that. So LeBron, like I said, man, LeBron is a crybaby. He's very soft. He's not in the same mold as Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant. He's not tough mentally. Physically, he's probably the greatest physical specimen up there. He's a top 3 greatest physical specimen we've seen. Total packages, skill, everything. But when it comes to, who he is and stuff, I'm sorry, he's not the type of guy that can handle people talk. He wants to be liked. He cares about his image. So Stephen A. Smith is in a very careful, precarious situation. And the whole point of this video is, as black people, we have to understand. See, this is the thing. Stephen A. Smith is getting paid, I think, 2.5 million a year. And I talked to a homeboy of mine the other day. He was like, man, I don't know if I could work for ESPN if I was Stephen A. Smith, because although they're paying him pretty well, a lot of times he has to bite his tongue or play it a certain way. And I just don't think I would do that. And I told him, I said, man, look, if ESPN ever call you to me, they're going to pay you $3 million a year, call me, because I'm a damn sure try to talk you into taking it. Because my thing is this, take the money. But see, this is the problem with Stephen A. And this is a lesson we can learn as black people. A white company can pay you a lot of money. And this is what I'm talking about with Colin Kaepernick. And the whole thing, my whole narrative that I've been preaching for the last couple of videos. A white company can pay you millions of dollars. Take the money, but set yourself up to where you can, and see, Stephen A. is making millions of dollars a year. There's no reason why Stephen A. Smith shouldn't be able to say, you know what? I got my own network going. I got my own deal. He has a deal with the radio stations where he does a show on Mad Dog, I think it's channel 80 on XM, and he does his show, but it's still owned by ESPN, by Disney. So he really doesn't have his own system set up. He doesn't have his own brand. He has a brand, but his brand is encompassed within ESPN and Disney. He cannot go out, and thus, because he doesn't have his own brand, he can't say what he really feels. And now, the reason I'm saying this, I know a lot of people will be like, well, doesn't that make you a hypocrite? I mean, you did say sometimes taking a stand matters in certain, arenas or certain times. And I agree. You can take a stand, but it's all about timing. When do you take a stand? See, Stephen A. Smith is not technically in the position to take a stand, to my knowledge. Now, I don't know his personal financial situation, but he's not in the position. And Stephen A. Smith, if I'm not mistaken, I think he loves what he does. I think he wants to continue doing what he does. And I think secretly he would like to really tell his side, his version, his truth. He doesn't want to, be forced into, a certain typecast or, and I think a lot of times in order for him to fit into the round hole of ESPN, even though he's a square, he has to cut off certain things to become that round circular object to fit into that hole. What I mean is he can't tell the truth about the video of the girl at Florida State punching the guy. Everybody that talked about that video had to speak as though they didn't see her ass hit that dude in the face. She balled up her fist and hit him in the face. It ain't his. Now, this is what you don't hear from me. I'm not condoning that men hit women, okay? But she ain't got no business putting her hand on him either. Nobody got a chance to say that. If you're not familiar with it, that guy, his name is DeAndre or whatever. He's actually the quarterback on that show, Last Chance U, Last Chance University, Last Chance U on Netflix. And I'm watching the show and his parents are crying and they're in a little, how they do the little reality show. They have him up there and his parents are crying. I wish I could, it was wrong. And I'm like, damn, don't everybody see this chick punched him in the face? I mean, everybody should see that. Same thing happened with another guy. White chick, they say she spit in his face. He punched her ass. My thing is this. These white girls that got hit, it's a white woman. This is their society. They feel like they should protect their women, especially against the big black buck. And that's the thing. This nigger doesn't know his place. Now, to this boy's, basically what happened, he's a quarterback at Florida Atlantic University, which is good. At least he's still playing Division I. He's probably, going to be in the NFL. He's probably going to go late, all because of what happened this freshman year. He set out 2 years. If he plays quarterback this year and goes off, he probably should go to the NFL, but he's probably not. He's going to have to play probably another 2 years of football. And they may draft him 4th, 5th round, even though he's a first-round talent guy. I watched it. Watch that show on Netflix. You'll see what I'm talking about. And I know this. I don't usually talk about sports on my channel, but what I'm saying is you have to be careful. As people, we have to be careful. We cannot allow ourselves to be, so like it's okay to get a job. It's okay if you get a high-paying job. You're gonna have to do certain things to keep that job. But what I'm saying is, what are you doing, at your kitchen table? They say you really create your financial freedom at your kitchen table. Don't just think you're doing something because you're putting the max in your 401k at your job. Stephen A. Smith will probably never be as broke or never live the life the average person. He's wealthy, independently wealthy. I'm sure this guy has enough money to sustain himself. But if I was Stephen A. Smith, now this is just me, I would develop an app. I would develop my own personal app, the Stephen A. Smith app. And I would create subscriptions. It'll be $5 a month. Stephen A. Smith can develop that app. And if he mentions that app 2 or 3 times on that ESPN First Take, he can make $3, $4, $5 million a month. Hands down. At $5 a month. He would get 1 million subscribers on that app or less. If he just gets 100,000 subscribers, he would do way better. At $5 each, do the math. 50,000 subscribers. You know what he would have to have just to equal what he has at that at ESPN? That number's very low. I think, what is it? I don't know, 10,000 for him to get 50,000 a month. And even at, what is that? 50, no, that's a little, let's see, 10,000, 20,000 to get 100. So he needs about 40,000 roughly. He needs about 40,000 subscribers that pay $5 a month for the Stephen A. Smith. And guess what? You the goose that laid a golden egg. That show wouldn't be ESPN First Take without Stephen A. Smith. Yes, Skip Bayless gone, but the show is still hanging in there. You have the talent. And the reason I'm making this video, we as black people, a lot of times we'll work in these companies and we'll be the ones like, you know, doing all these different things. My girl is great at her job. She's so damn good. People from corporate headquarters are coming in and using her as an example. And, you know, she basically can write her own ticket with the company. And I told her, I said, man, damn the company. Yeah, you know, take what you can from the company. Get it. If they want to pay you 6 figures, then by all means, you know, get it, which is what she's doing. But at the end of the day, don't live off the 6 figures that they pay you. See, this is the key to power. Power, like it says, it says, first of all, know a person's weakness. On the last video, I talked about knowing people's weakness. Stephen A. Smith probably spends all his damn money. He lives a good life. When I say spend, not every penny, but I'm sure he spends a good, substantial amount of it. Live on less than you make. If black people adopt these principles, we will win. Now, I'm going to give you a great example of that. Colin Kaepernick, I'm going to give you a great example. And I can go find the articles and the screenshots to show you. There are a lot of white people that are upset that the Indians and the Asians have taken over Silicon Valley. Take in mind, Silicon Valley was started by whites. In the late 60s, a lot of them came from IBM and all these different companies. And they formulated what later became Silicon Valley, which is well known. Everybody knows about Silicon Valley. But the funny thing about Silicon Valley, right, these foreigners came in. They came into these white companies. They kept their heads down and they worked in these companies. They didn't try to change the culture. They didn't do anything. Before long, a lot of Indians and Asians started being able to start their own tech companies in Silicon Valley. Now, 40% of Silicon Valley, over 50% of Silicon Valley is people from the continent of Asia. If you include Indians and Asians together. And white people are upset about it. They bitching. But it ain't shit they could do about it. That's power. Never one of the rules of power, never let people know your intentions. 48 laws of power. I've been talking about that. Stephen A. Smith right now could still work his job. But see, if I was in Stephen A. Smith's shoes, I would set myself up where I could tell them F you. Like Dr. Boyce Watkins has this mantra. He always talks about fuck you money, F you money. Excuse my French. And what he's saying is, look, you need to set yourself up where you're not dependent on someone else. Let me tell you something. Now, Stephen A. Smith, if all he needs is 2.3 million a year, 40,000 subscribers, that's nothing. If he had an app, like I'm gonna tell you something. What's his face has an app? Rush Limbaugh. Rush Limbaugh has an app. Rush Limbaugh is worth, they say he's worth like almost $1 billion. He's wealthy as hell. He has the EIB. Now he's done this excellence in broadcasting. He's done his little deal with the broadcast. He's syndicated, but he's not just syndicated. At least I would respect Stephen A. Smith a little bit more if he at least did a syndication deal, because that would be more so a partnership. Yes, he has a contract with ESPN, but you got to understand, when you on a show where you give your opinion, you're gonna piss people off. It's like political capital. You're going to use or extend that political capital if every day you get to speak and you see some BS coming from a guy like LeBron James and you call him on it and he's whining. LeBron James, please believe he got on the phone and called whoever he needed to call and bitch to whoever he needed to bitch to get Steve. He's probably trying to get him fired. And they're taking heat for that from the NBA and the back office of the NBA. They're upset because Stephen A. Smith told the truth about LeBron. LeBron wants people to think he's this nice guy. He's not. He's not. I'm sorry, I don't know him personally, but what I'm saying, when it comes to his career, he's very self-centered. It's all about him, and he wants to cheat his way to the top. He does not want to, when I say cheat, not actually physically cheat, but he wants to go get all top 5, top 10 talent, stack it on one team, win, and then point his finger at Michael Jordan, who did it with Scottie Pippen, whoever never averaged over 20 points, over 21 points a game. When Michael Jordan was playing, he did. He never averaged over 21 points a game. And Kobe Bryant, who Pau Gasol, who had only had Pau Gasol, who was a mediocre star at best. Sometimes he showed up, sometimes he didn't. And Shaquille O'Neal, which if you go look at the stats, Kobe actually averaged more than him throughout the playoffs in many of those rings that he won with Shaquille O'Neal. So that's what I'm saying. So people in Kobe knew who he was. He knew he had the talent. So, of course, and I'm not trying to get into sports, but what I'm saying is you have to, whenever you go into a situation, I heard Thought Crimes did a Prince Solomon and Sincere, they did a show the other day talking about alpha, beta, gamma, different types of personalities. And they said the difference between an alpha and a beta is that the alpha has the resources. They are in control of certain things. The beta is the exact same carbon copy of the alpha, except he doesn't have the resources, but he's waiting for the opportunity to get those resources, or he's going out and building. So we're in a holding pattern as black people. A lot of times you cannot go out here and speak and say what you want. Stephen A. Smith, whether he likes it, is still black. He's selling out a lot of different things. He is. I'm gonna be honest with you, Stephen. He's selling out to even be in that position. You can't come on ESPN. Let's be honest. You can't come on ESPN and say so and so is going through this because he's black and white America doesn't want to see this or that. Like Cam Newton. Some of the stuff they say about Cam Newton is because he's black. When he got to the Super Bowl a year before last, and said I'm a black quarterback, and that makes a lot of people uncomfortable. They got upset with that. It's the truth. We all know that. We all know that they don't want to see a lot of black quarterbacks in the NFL. But Cam Newton alluded to that. Well, they was on his ass when they lost. They was on his ass for about a month after the Super Bowl when they lost. They are waiting on an opportunity. And Cam Newton came out to try to do some damage control. Well, I don't believe in racism. He tried to fix it. They still on his ass. They still don't care. A lot of times, man, when you in this game, you got to understand who your enemy is and use them. Stephen A. Smith, if I was him, I would use ESPN and Disney. I would take their money. I would cut down on my lifestyle. If I was him, I would take the bulk of that money. I would build an app. I would start recording my show, and people will pay me a subscription to listen to your show, your radio show. And then when you got 30, say he get 100,000 people listening to his radio show, he would literally make double what he's making from ESPN. If he just got 100,000, he would make over double from ESPN. So he could tell ESPN to go to hell. You see what I'm saying? If you black and you listening to this and you say, hey man, I need $60,000 a year. What can I do? Walk it back. Okay, I need $5,000 a month. What can I do to build up to $5,000 a month? Well, they got this apartment complex over here, eight unit apartment complex. They got this 8-plex. Actually, I really do have an 8-plex I'm looking at, up here in Atlanta. I can get it. I know the guy's not for sale. People don't know about it. But the guy said, here, let me have it for $165. An 8-plex. I could take this 8-plex. It needs work, but it's already got 3 tenants in it. And if I fix it and give it a nice artsy little look to it, got hardwood floors. It's a real pretty place. It's real pretty on the inside. It just needs work. You get what I'm saying? It needs to be brought up to code. The outside needs to be fixed up, painted, landscaped. The roof is leaking in certain areas. If I bring this thing back up to par, and up in Atlanta, I can get $6,000. I mean, not $6,000, but I can literally get $800 a month rent for this place. Easy, because each one is two bedroom, 1 bath. 8 times 8 is $6,400 a month, right? So I'm gonna just do some math for you. 8 times 8 is $6,400. $6,400 times 12. I'm gonna do the math right quick. $6,400 times 12 months out the year is $76,800. Now you multiply that by point. What is it? I think the equation is point. Let's see. For vacancy and maintenance, you take off 25%. For ease of math, I'm just gonna do 20% times 0.8. 61,000. There it is, right there. $61,440 a year. So I just told you in one deal how to make $60,000 a year. Cause okay, now out of that 61,000, you got to pay for you got to pay your mortgage, you got to service your debt, But if I got it for 160, that's a hell of a deal. That's why I want it. Because if I get it for 160 and I put another 80,000 into it, I'm in it for roughly $250,000. Payments on 250 is around $1,200. I mean, yeah, anywhere from about $1,200 to $1,300. That is how now you're almost there. I would have to pay that $1,200 out of the 64 that I'm making, or 61, and that'll be that. So that's just. But you gotta basically, I'm just setting myself up to be in a powerful position. See what I'm saying? That's $3,800. That's $3,870 a month. So you mostly there. Plus you got equity. And the way they figure it up is they take that 61, they take that 60, and they divide it by the capitalization rate. Let's say you do a 10% capitalization rate. Divide that by 0.1. It's basically worth, if it's $61,440, you just move the decimal one more place. That property is worth $614,000. $614,400. That's what the property is worth. I'm in at $250. So not only did I get a nice source of chunk of income every month, I have another. You see what I'm saying? Now you could do that same equation for a damn duplex. I wouldn't fool with single family. That's just me. I would do quadruplexes, duplexes. Start looking at these small properties. That's the fastest and easiest way to get yourself set up where you don't have to worry about, your boss talking greasy to you. Because hey man, every month when I get out, even if I don't get out of bed, I can quit my job, whatever. I got enough money to tell these jokers to go to hell. That's the thing you got to ask yourself. So set yourself up, man, financially, to where you don't have to worry about certain things. That's what I'm asking. Let's set ourselves up so we're in a strong financial position and we don't end up like Stephen A. Smith. Just that ESPN is threatening Stephen A. Smith, saying he's keeping up mess when he's out there trying to get ratings and doing what they told him to do, which is his job. Now they threatening the guy because of his mouth. One day they're going to fire this guy. He's going to get terminated one day. He's not going to get a chance to. And if he hasn't set himself up by developing that app, if I was in this position, that's the first thing I would do. I would take the fastest step to developing the app, and I would push it on my social media. Go look at his on Facebook when you get a chance. Go look at how many views he gets when he goes on social media and just talks and rants for 10 minutes. He'll get millions of views just on those videos alone. When you're in that position, monetize that shit. Don't let these white folks put you in a position where you're beholden to them. It's your mindset. See what I'm saying? I would use the hell out their ass. I would use them. Just like Cardinal Richelieu. Cardinal Richelieu, see, this is the thing. This is the chess game, man. I love this type of stuff. This is strategy. This is game right here. Their weakness, ESPN and Disney's weakness is they don't have too many white or Caucasian guys that have the personality and skill that Stephen A. Smith has. That's their weakness. But they got the money. That's their strength. But they're making a mistake. They're putting Stephen A. Smith into a position where he's gaining notoriety and things like that. No one has done this before. I would personally develop an app. I would develop a portal whereby people could log in and listen to, certain things for money. That's what Rush Limbaugh's done. Rush Limbaugh has monetized his name and likeness with the EIB. I don't know if I knew they had it on iPhone. I don't know if they have it for Android, but I developed that, man. Monetize your damn self. You know what I'm saying? Or work your own deal out and get your own situation. I would get my own damn network. I would probably go talk to Oprah and talk to her about getting the show on or something. It won't have as many viewers, but a lot of people, white and black, love Stephen A. Smith. Use that shit. Don't let them put you in a position where they can fire you. Let me tell you something, that'll burn me up. If I was in a position where I'm getting $2 million a year, it wouldn't be long. The next time some shit like that pop off and they threaten me, let me tell you what I do. This is what I have. I come in to work one day and some shit will pop off like this chick punching this brother in the face, and I tell the damn truth. I mean, Stephen A., I wouldn't just quickly give up $2 million. But when it comes to a certain point, I wouldn't just give up and just let them just make me bend and fold. Because they're going to fire his ass. Let me tell you something. They're going to fire him. They ain't going to let him get a farewell. They're not going to give him nothing. They're just going to let his ass go. Because they're going to already have somebody in place to try to fill in for him. Notice they testing the ratings out now. Why you think, and this was one day last week, they had all black men up there. ESPN think they slick. Stephen A. went on like a 2-week hiatus, vacation, whatever. And they had one day I watched it. I was like, damn, they got all brothers up here. What are they doing? Why they got all these black? They're trying to test likability. I know how this shit works. Common sense. And you think I'm finna sit there and let you make an ass out of me and find my replacement? Problem is they haven't been able to find a replacement. Now it's people on YouTube. Why you think when Skip Bayless left, they put out a competition to have somebody come in and be a guest host on ESPN First Take? They trying to find somebody. They want that next goose that laid a golden egg. Once they find somebody that has likability, that has the personality of Stephen A. Smith, as soon as he step out of line, his ass is gone. But I'll play chess on their ass. I would. That's just me. So set yourself up, man. That's the main thing in the moral of this story. Set yourself up, black people. Thank you.